Hi, everybody. I think I'm on 1,322 days. Murdered Richard Halliday, but we're MAGA strong. Um, wow, we're absorbing what happened yesterday with the elections and how that will impact our son's case, and it's looking very promising to further our criminal complaints and our cases that we have um, moving forward to get the remains of our son back. I mean, that's the bottom line here. But it seems to be, God, God has a different plan. Um, Not only, and I really do believe that we will get Richard's remains back because of God's hand being all over this case already. Just finding out, um, there's just a few things that we always have to go back and thank God for, right? And one of them is finding out who Nadal Bayim was. Because we didn't know who he was. For months, we didn't know who he was. We did not know that this FBI man was the father-in-law of uh, Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, and that Bradford Bugado now, it's coming out because we don't even imagine. See, Team Find Richard Halliday, we're not criminals. We don't operate like criminals, and we can't imagine that Bradford Bugado would get his position, because it seems to us, it seems very clear that there's a reason why he's in his position, and I don't think it's because of being, um, let's just say, he has very interesting family, and of course, um, still being there even after his father-in-law, FBI agent Nadal Baim, declared that the search for Richard was over. You could take down the flyers because the FBI had found Richard's remains in Mexico, and that was a secret. Shh, shh. Remember, he exposed that this was a cover-up, that this was a secret, and Bradford Bugado simply had to say he's like pulled a Fawny Willis, right? Oh, I just paid with cash. We just paid with cash. My daddy told me to have a lot of cash at home. We're supposed to believe that kind of absurd narrative, um, when there's all this other indication otherwise. And so with Bradford Bugado, there's all this other indication otherwise, um, you know, um, living circumstances, vacations, everything that shows that he did have a very friendly, close relationship with his father in law. But all he has to do is tell our military command, oh no, we don't really, I don't have anything to do with them. And they don't do anything. They believe, I mean, who are these people that they are going to be so naive or corrupt, to, who's going to protect us? I mean, with leaders like this, with a command like this, with the corruption that is in the command like we have, who needs enemies, right? This is not me criticizing. This is asking an honest to God question about our military, and absolutely the vile, vulgar threats and harassment, to torment us, to really try to intimidate us and to get us to stop asking questions, which, in our country, we have an obligation to do, just like they have an obligation to care for our service members, our sons and daughters that volunteer to join to serve in our armed forces. We have an obligation as members of this government of the people, by the people, for the people, to question the narratives coming out of our government. Um, you know, this is not just this is not a military government. Uh, Please God, don't let it be a military government. Um, this is a democratic republic. And so, we are um, obliged, obligated to ask questions. And I think that that is very, very important, to even question the narratives that come out of our government. And so, from the very beginning, it was the narrative that we were getting was so crazy and so insane and did not make sense, that we have continued to ask the questions. And God had a plan. He had a plan. And Richard must be very, very, very special to God. I know he's very, very special to us. But he has used Richard and Richard's case to expose uh, the perpetrators, the murderers. I think it's going to happen. The murderers of the Walmart case that are still walking around, because there are many, many that have reached out to us, um, many that know that this case is not a lone shooter. Okay. And victims and people that were there are afraid to even speak up because of the criminal um, network that has gripped El Paso when it comes to this Walmart mass shooting case. Realize that people have died getting involved in this case, and the police chief has died. Glendon Oakley Jr. has died. A prosecutor has died. And it goes on and on. And so this is a very toxic case, because it is just so full of injustices and an insane, toxic narrative. And we have Madrano, who is I mean, he has just failed in every sense of the way as a justice, as a judge, that is supposed to be defending our Constitution and giving us, uh, fair, proper courts, right? Effective courts, equal balanced courts, right? That's why in El Paso they unveiled the new Lady Justice, who has the scales. Well, Judge Madrano is far from that. Matter of fact, he's quite the opposite of the even scales. And, we still don't have a trial date set. We still don't have a scheduling order set from him. Not even one. Not even one. Um, and he really pounded Yvonne Rosales. When I go back and read the July 1st, 2022 transcripts of the status hearing, he just pounded her for not having any kind of motions in the Walmart mass shooting case, while he himself is violating the gag order, violating his judicial code of conduct, right? And also no trial date, no scheduling orders. And so we have murderers walking the street. We have murderers walking the street, and we have victims not getting justice. And of course, Richard is intertwined with this because of his whistleblowing. Because of his whistleblowing, and because I believe the involvement of the people that hurt Richard, that forcibly removed him from the barracks under, like the guise of an arrest or something, right? And law enforcement, because absolutely law enforcement are the perpetrators. We know that Tavita Nusa is CID. He's a perpetrator. We know that dirty agent Marlon Soto is also CID, and he's a perpetrator. We know that DES, Thomas Kane, in charge of the security of Fort Bliss, is part of this. He allowed um, the cameras, uh, you know, where are the CCTV footage? Where are the guards, right? I mean, he's in charge of all of that. So he absolutely is an accessory to the crimes committed against Richard. And of course, Richard's murder and very brutal end with the dismemberment and putting his remains in different locations. So, and, of course, we have a whole host of suspects because of the retaliation that we have received, right? We've um, major retaliation that we have received from the very beginning of all of this, okay? Because I believe the Army, in the midst of what was going on at Fort Hood, which is now Fort Covassos, in the midst of Vanessa Guillen's remains being found, chopped up remains, burnt remains being found in a foxhole covered in lime and concrete after being brutally murdered and sexually assaulted and or sexually harassed. I believe it was sexually harassed. I'm not quite sure on that one. But yeah, in the midst of all of that, that they just throw Richard out and Richard's family out after begging them. We were begging them to help us. And no, they threw us out. And it wasn't until we put together Find Richard Halliday Facebook page and also on Instagram and Hannah's Instagram getting 40,000 shares that they decided, okay, well, maybe we need to control this narrative now. And in their very heartless way, they brought Richard back onto the rolls and proceeded to smear him, to control the narrative. So, and we were just curious, why would they smear him? Why would they not mention to the press that Richard was a distinguished honor graduate for his cycle and basic training and AIT? That would help, motivate people to, uh, not that that made him any more important than anyone else, but that you do need to sing people's praises and in order to motivate people to help. I mean, it's just simple logic to do that, and yet they refused to do that. They wanted Richard to look very, very bad, to be a criminal. They wanted to discredit Richard. They proceeded to smear him, and especially within the law enforcement community, which we found out. And so this was really curious to us. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? And because it really hurt our family too. Why would they hurt us like that? You know? And so, and now we know because Richard is intertwined in the Walmart case, that Richard was whistleblowing on the very individuals that perpetrated the Walmart case. That the Walmart case is not isolated to Patrick Crucius, that there were multiple shooters, that there was a planning, and that planning was a military-like or operation, right? Because they were in a row, they were acting together as a unit, um, and we are told that by witnesses that the way they perpetrated this shooting was like a military trained unit. And so then, and then we heard uh, by very good sources that there's brown tip bullets involved at the scene of the Walmart case. Now that needs to be looked at. This is the tip that we're getting, that brown tip bullets were there at the scene, and of course those bullets are specialized bullets. They are not, for the most part, ever registered because they're for special operations, and they are meant to be used with M4s. And we heard from Glendon Oakley Jr. that M4s were at the scene. They were at the mall. They were at the mall because the mall was also the scene. And that these M4s were there. And of course, the brown tip bullets are compatible with the M4 rifles that have a short barrel. What does that mean? Well, they're meant for urban warfare. And, so with the eyewitnesses, the many eyewitnesses, I mean, all you have to do is for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, put aside any kind of TV program and go and just Google or use alternative search engines and uh, read all about the Walmart case, and go to alternative news sources, okay? Um, and read all about the Walmart case. So we've put up a lot, but we are being censored, okay? On TikTok, they're really hammering, a very important video. They took away the voice of it, so they're trying to silence the family of Richard Halliday, the missing and murdered soldier from Fort Bliss. And, when I put up about FBI man Nadal Baim, which exposes Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado, they silenced that. And then, of course, I've been told that my voice on this live stream, it cannot be heard properly. That's because they're trying to silence, um, this story because it involves a criminal cartel uh, uh, friendly. Absolutely, this is a cooperation between Fort Bliss, the law enforcement there, and El Paso, and the cartel. The cartel are absolutely involved in this. There's no doubt in my mind because of Richard's remains being found in Juarez, and the people that are involved in this and connected in this, uh, and the crimes that are involved in this, the weapons smuggling, the ammunition smuggling, the human trafficking, the narcotics trafficking, the money laundering, the extortion, all of the identity theft, the Dreams Cafe, Dreams Cabaret, the Dreams Cabaret, that is right beside the Tactical Move Storage Unit lot. That's right beside the Texas Department of Transportation, and right behind it is FedEx. Is FedEx? Can you believe it? I mean, that's as a Team Vine Richard Halliday member pointed out, that's a trifecta for trafficking, a trifecta for trafficking. So, um, yeah, so this is why this is being silenced, because what is the motive behind the Walmart mass shooting? Because it was not a racist hit. It was not white supremacist motive. It was not a manifesto. That is all a ruse to cover up the real motivation for a mass shooting like this. And so we'll find the real truth. We're not at liberty to tell you everything that we have. Um, the investigators have to release their work. They have to release their work, their findings, their investigative theories, right, to indict the suspects, to indict the perpetrators, the murderers, the absolute murderers, and those involved in the organized crime, like the narcotics trafficking, the human trafficking, the money laundering, the identity theft, the weapons smuggling, and and the ammunition smuggling, and just the murder of innocent people. Um, so we need to let them be the heroes. These people that are investigating so closely now, so diligently, and because the people that are in real trouble are the likes of Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, who uses Lalani Hart. Remember Lalani Hart with her notarized criminal complaint affidavit that she got her adulterous sex partner, CID agent Tavita Nusa, to coach her into putting together and getting a CID number and an FBI number that was leaked out there. And we received that, and we called the notary up, and he confirmed that he did notarize that. And also, those case numbers have been confirmed. And so, and what's in that case from Lalani Hart that Bob Moore likes to align himself with? Well, it's pedophilia, right? It's child pornography, which is child torture. It is illegal weapons purchasing. It is immigration. It seems immigration fraud. It is um, it is the sexual assault of a 7-year-old in Lalani Hart's bedroom by multiple members of her family. This is who Bob Moore likes to align himself with, and we tried no less than 10, 11 times to contact him to relay the information that we had, the confirmation that she's a convicted criminal, lying to law enforcement authorities, her history of repeated harassment of others, and, uh, you know, there was no response. Matter of fact, the the um, bitterness he has is not for being taken by Lalani Hart, and him making stories with this unreliable source, and also Angela Kachurga, which her husband took time out to interview Texas Hart because they have a love affair with this family, I guess, um, and align themselves. In that report is in the Dallas Morning News. Um, that they, will align themselves with such a criminal family, right? Absolutely criminal family, and and then try to bully, target the family of the missing soldier, right? Because don't forget Lalani Hart's son, Dallas Hart. Texas Hart is her other son, but Dallas Hart, because she loves the Dallas Cowboys, right? She had a shrine up in her house for the Dallas Cowboys. So Dallas is her son's name, and he was Richard's platoon leader. And we're getting very interesting reports of him kind of disappearing for a while during a very interesting time. And so that, yeah, I think that he was involved with something that made him unstable, and he had to kind of like go into hiding, maybe take off for a little bit. And back then. So we're not at liberty to say everything, but we have to get let the investigators have their glory, right? and also, um, you know, time, the right timing, um, so that, you know, you just don't want to arrest somebody. You want to get accountability. Okay, this is the thing. And you see that in our courts today. Our courts are very tricky. We don't have justice in the courts. We have the likes of Madrano in the courts, right? Um, uh, you know, we have prosecutors with the likes of Bill Hicks that don't even know how to file his oath of office properly. Um, you know, don't doesn't even recuse himself when he knows that he was representing Purchase Funeral Homes, which makes him have conflicts of interest in the Walmart case, which could really destroy the entire case. So he's putting the whole case at jeopardy um, with his carelessness, and you know he's just not the best lawyer out there. Okay, he's you know, he didn't even pass his bar the first time, so you know, he's just not the most desirable prosecutor. Matter of fact, he seems pretty corrupt because he likes to tamper in the election of the people. So he doesn't even honor the people that he's supposed to serve. And he's talking with Bob Moore and Justin Underwood, and Justin Underwood is um, under a gag order from Judge Madrano, and you know Judge Madrano doesn't care about that. You know, it's just there's so much going on that we know about, um, and I know, you know, my faith is that God's going to put all this together, that people will absolutely understand that a criminal group created the Walmart mass shooting with the help of military training, um, to capitalize on the fear and the chaos, and also, um, you know, pass the bond. That's the capitalization, but also to divert attention from their criminal activities that was being reported by Richard Halliday and others. Okay, and divert attention and make things so chaotic that they wouldn't be held accountable, so that they can continue to sell drugs and fentanyl to our soldiers and other people in the community, that they could continue to human traffic, that they could continue to make porn, child porn, because we know that Dallas Hart was into that, that he was looking for his child porn at his mother's house when he came back from his deployment. You know, he was looking for it, and you know, we know that through Leilani Hart's testimony that was notarized and her criminal complaint. So, you know, God has a purpose. I think it's bigger than what we intended. We just wanted to know where Richard is, but God says no. This is too important. People are getting hurt with this drug trafficking, with this criminal enterprise that is weapons smuggling and ammunition smuggling, and you know, the narcotics and the trafficking and everything. That no, I'm going to bring it all together and we're going to expose it. And so say a prayer that you know, we all come close to God, close to His will. It all gets exposed and breaks apart, and we will get accountability and make El Paso great again, right? MAGA strong. Make America great again. Make El Paso great again. You know, not having to have all these sex cult pedophiles around that like to torture children to create pornography, and bring in the fentanyl and kill people with the fentanyl, um, and other illegal narcotics, and all the money laundering um, problems. So it just goes on and on. And we are just very, very grateful for the opportunity to expose this. And it's dangerous, but we're grateful that we can have the opportunity to expose evil and not cower in the face of it, because it's very easy to cower in the face of evil. Um, and we just haven't even thought about even doing that. We just have taken it on straight on, and we're very grateful that we have been given that chance to have that kind of um, strength to do that. So, and I think that's what happens when your children are in danger and something terrible has happened to your children, your child. You just get this unbelievable strength that you normally wouldn't have. And, we want Richard's remains back, and we want accountability. And we also want accountability for the Walmart case now, because so many people were hurt and these murderers are walking around, and it's part of a criminal enterprise. So if we don't get them now, they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again, because there are always whistleblowers. There are always people that don't want them to do what they're doing, and they will hit back. And we need to um, absolutely stop their bully, their criminal reign over that border area. So thank you so much. Um, it's really exciting times with the election, and so we're burning midnight oil. It's about 12:39 here, I believe, 12:39, and so I am just grateful for that energy too. So thank you. God bless you. I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye. Thank you, Anicia. I see you. Thank you for your prayers and your love.